Destiny 2's new expansion, Edge of Fate, is almost here, and I want to make builds for you that would actually help you in the long run. So this Prismatic Warlock build does not require any artifact mods, so you can basically use this build forever. So this build will conquer Master Raids, Master Dungeons, Grandmaster Nightfalls, and anything that relates to endgame content, you can run this build. If you're excited for the new expansion, be sure to hit that like button and also subscribe if you'd like to see more Destiny 2 builds in the near future. What I'm about to say right now, a lot of people really hate this, but for this build, you're gonna have to go for the exotic bond called the solipsism. But to make things more better, you're actually going to need one exotic perk from the exotic warlock bond. And that perk is called Spirit of Syntheseps. So this will increase your melee damage up to 165% when you're surrounded by 3 or more enemies within a 15-meter radius. And the melee I am using for this build is Arcane Needle, but we're not going to be using Arcane Needle. I just put it for the additional melee charges. So for Arcane Needle, you're going to get 3 charges. And we're tying this to this aspect, which is Lightning Surge, which will grant you bolt charges whenever you hit targets with your Lightning Surge. And every time you were to pick up a bolt charge, it will grant you melee energy. And once you have times 10 stacks of bolt charges and you were to use your next ability, it would activate this lightning bolt that will do damage as like an ignition for solar. And you are also going to be stunning overload champions. And for the first column you're going to want to go for is Spirit of Inmost Light. This one's not necessary, but if you do have it, it would help you with this build. So whenever you were to use an ability, your other 2 abilities will be granted improved energy regeneration. So for example, let's just say you were to use your Arcane Needle, your grenade and your class ability will be getting those improved energy regeneration gains. So if you were to hit enemies with 2 of your abilities, you'll be granted 800% increase in your ability regeneration for 5 seconds. But if you want to focus on more survivability, I would recommend going for this role on the first column, which is Spirit of Assassin. Finishers and powered melee final blows will grant invisibility. Even though for this build we are getting Devour because of this aspect, Feed the Void. Whenever we get kills with an ability, it would activate Devour. So if you don't know what Devour does, it would give you grenade energy and also health whenever you get kills. But for this aspect, it's going to enhance it even further. So we're going to be getting more health and more grenade energy whenever we get kills when Devour is activated. But if you're one of those gamers that like to solo Grandmaster Nightfalls, Spirit of Assassin is the way to go. When it comes to your super, you can choose any super you like, whatever floats your boat. But for me, I like to go for Song of Flame for 2 things. 1, you're going to be granted a 90% damage resist whenever the super is active. And 2, your weapons will get Radiant, which will give your weapons anti-barrier rounds. For your abilities, for your class ability, if you are one of those people that are using Spirit of Inmost Light and Syntheseps, go for Phoenix Dive. If you don't have Spirit of Inmost Light, then you can put Healing Rift. For your grenades, I would recommend either going for Vortex Grenade to weaken targets, or you can go for Storm Grenade to jolt targets because we are using this fragment called Facet of Dominance. I chose to put Vortex Grenade just to weaken targets, just to give you that 15% increase in damage to those weakened targets, because we are already going to be jolting targets with Lightning Surge. If you don't know how to activate Transcendence, I'll sum it up very quickly. You would need to use abilities or weapons that has light and dark elements. So there's going to be a bar underneath your super. On the left side is your light, the right side is dark. Deal light and darkness damage to fill the bar up. Once it's filled up, activate it, and it would override your grenade into this freezing singularity that will suppress, slow, and freeze. So you're going to be able to stun overload and unstoppable champions. And once you do, be sure to activate your melee ability to grant you even more grenade regeneration. And whenever you kill targets, it will extend the duration for Transcendent. The fragments I went with for this build for more of a survivability is Facet of Protection. That would give you a 32% damage resist when you have Transcendent activated and whenever you're surrounded. But if you don't have Transcendent activated and you're surrounded, you'll be getting a 15% damage resist. The next fragment I went with just to stun anti-barrier champions with our weapons. So whenever we get a melee hit or a melee kill with our powered melee, but in most cases with our powered melee hit, it will give you Radiant for 5 seconds. The next fragment I went with just to give me even more melee energy. This one isn't necessary, so you can change it off if you like, but I just did it for more melee energy gains. But in order for you to get that, you would need to get rapid kills with light damage. So in this case, we're mostly going to be getting rapid kills with this arc ability. The last fragment I went with is this one. Whenever we get powered melee final blows, it will grant unraveling rounds to your strand weapons. I'm not using a strand weapon for this build, but I will give you some recommendations once we get there. I mainly put it for this one. Whenever we get grenade final blows, it would grant volatile rounds to your void weapons, and I am using a void primary weapon. And that void primary weapon is called the Reckless Oracle because it comes with destabilizing rounds, which is an additional way to proc volatile rounds without you needing to get grenade kills with that fragment. And I also ran Repulsor's Brace just to give me a Void Overshield whenever we get kills with Void debuff targets. So that would be Suppression, Volatile, or Weaken. And in this build, we're going to be doing all of those three. Also, too, I did choose this auto rifle because of the origin trait, which is Photo Inhibition. Long story short, if you were to break a combatant shield that matches your element type, so if you were to destroy a Void shield enemy, it would make a blinding explosion around him. But if you were to destroy a shield that doesn't match the type, it will just blind that single target. And for your weapon mod, I did have special ammo finder enhancement, but I noticed that we are using an exotic heavy weapon, so I went with heavy ammo finder enhancement. That just increases the heavy ammo drop chance for this weapon. For the kinetic weapon, I mainly put this stasis sidearm called the Tenacious Mastery. The only premise for this one is that I just really wanted to stun unstoppable champions. We do have other ways too, but I just want to have a guaranteed chance to stun unstoppable champions. And in order for you to do that, you're going to want to get Chill Clip. This one slows targets and also freezes them, so you can't stun Overload and unstoppable champions. And also too, you can stun anti-barrier champions because we're getting Radiant for this build. So overall, you're going to be stunning every single champion with this sidearm. And on the third column, you can go for Loose Change that increases your reload speed whenever you were to apply elemental debuffs, which ties to Chill Clip, which is slow and freeze. Or you could also go for Air Trigger as well, but I don't have it, so I'm going for Loose Change. And for the weapon mod, you're going to want to go for is Backup Mag to increase your magazine size. If you want to look at the origin trait, here you go, but it's really useless in PvE. But if you don't have the Tenacious Mastery, you could also go for the Call. This is a strength sidearm that perfectly ties to this fragment if you want to get volatile rounds and unraveling rounds just to get most of the benefits for this fragment. And for the perks, you're going to want to go for either One for All or Vorpal on the fourth column, and on the third column, be sure to go for Lead from Gold. If you want to fully prioritize in your Darkness Transcendence energy gains, go for the Lost Signal. Your main goal for this grenade launcher is to hit as much targets as possible to produce that Darkness Transcendence energy. For the exotic heavy weapon I went with is Legend of Akraa, just to tie it to Lightning Surge because it counts as a melee. So on the catalyst, it comes with Trench Barrel. So after a successful melee hit, this weapon gains increased damage, handling, and reload speed for a short duration or until 3 shots are fired. So in order for you to activate Trench Barrel, here's are the ways for you to activate it. You're going to want to do either Lightning Surge, Arcane Needle, your Song of Flame with your Incinerator Snap, or you can do your basic melee. And the catalyst will also increase your reload speed. So you really want to get the catalyst for the Legend of Akraa. If you want to know how to get the Legend of Akraa, all you got to do is go to the tower and into the exotic archive. Once you're there, go to the Red War exotics, and the Legend of Akraa would be right here. Here are the material requirements if you want to purchase the Legend of Akraa. And for the catalyst, I do think Banshee will show it to you once you have acquired the Legend of Akraa. But if I'm wrong, be sure to let me know in the comments. When it comes to stats, your main priority is to go for Resilience to give you that 30% damage resist. And Resilience also stacks with Fasted Up Protection and also Song of Flame. And your second priority will be Discipline, just to reduce your grenade cooldown. I didn't choose Recovery because we already are using Feed the Void for Devour. All right, let's head to the armor mods. Before I start, if you want to copy it, feel free to do so now, but I'll give you some other options for these armor mods for the build. Let's start with the helmet. On the helmet, you're going to want to go for Void Siphon to give you an Orb of Power if you were to get a rapid kill with Void weapons, and also go for Stasis Siphon. And for each of these two mods, you can replace one of them and go for Heavy Ammo Finder if you are not getting any heavy ammo, so be sure to put Heavy Ammo Finder. And on your third mod, go for Hands On. That will give you super energy whenever you get melee kills. For the gauntlets, you're going to want to go for Double Heavy Handed, and whenever you get a powered melee kill, it will create an Orb of Power. So this is a 5-second cooldown, but if you want to take full advantage of producing Orbs of Power, then you're going to want to go for 3 Heavy Handed. The cooldown will be 1 second if you have 3 Heavy Handed. But for me, I didn't because it's too expensive, and so I went with Impact Induction. Whenever you were to cause damage with your powered melee attack, it would reduce your grenade cooldown. Or we are using the Legend of Akraa, and the handling is pretty horrible. You could also go for Arc Dexterity. For your chest piece, it's mainly towards resist mods, but for melee damage resist, you could also change it to Concussive Dampener. And also too, depending on what activity you're playing, you can change it up as you please. But this is what I'm running so far: Harmonic Resistance, Void Resistance, and melee damage resistance. For your leg, go for Recuperation, even though we are getting Devour, but still. So whenever you pick up an Orb of Power, it will give you health. So let's just say that you're in a tight situation where you can't be able to proc Devour, but you do see an Orb of Power and you are low on health. So all you got to do is just run towards the Orb of Power and you'll get health. The next mod I went with is Invigoration. It's not necessary, but you can freely choose any other other mod you'd like. If you care about activating or reducing your ability cooldown, you could go for Absolution. This ties to all of your abilities. And for the last mod I went with is Arc Scavenger, just to give me more ammo on the Legend of Akraa. For the Warlock Bond, I went with Reaper, Powerful Attraction, and Special Finisher. For Reaper, whenever you activate your class ability and get a kill afterwards, it'll drop an orb of power, and when you use your class ability, it would collect nearby orbs of power around you. And whenever you finish an enemy, if you have 3 stacks of armor charges, it will drop special ammo for you and your allies. I just put this one because of the Tenacious Mastery, because we want to get as much special ammo as possible to stun unstoppable and overload champions. So what do you guys think about this build? This is a future-proof prismatic warlock build. If you guys would like to try it for yourself, the mobalytics/dim loadout link will be in the description. I got a question for you. Are you guys excited for the Edge of Fate expansion? If you are, if you're not, feel free to put your reasons in the comments. Be sure to hit that like button and also subscribe. We are so very close to 8,000 whopping subscribers, and I greatly appreciate all of the support. All right, take care and peace. I'll see you guys in the next video.